Today I'm taking a look at the Elephant's Trunk Flea Market in New Milford, Connecticut. This is my first time here ever. I'd actually only heard about it within the last year or two, even though I live in the same state and it's been going since 1976 apparently. The sign out front says this is New England's largest flea market, but it's clearly much smaller than Brimfield. I guess they're saying that this is the biggest single flea market, and Brimfield is technically a collection of multiple flea markets all put together, I guess. Now, I really wanted to be here on opening day, but the weather just wasn't holding up too well. Within about 10 minutes of getting here, it started to rain. So you'll see in a little bit, everybody started packing up almost as soon as I got here. So I was really disappointed. But luckily, it wasn't a complete bomb. Now I see here they have a antique fire extinguisher there, and I remember, I don't know, about maybe 5 years ago, it seemed like almost every vendor at Brimfield had an antique fire extinguisher. So I don't know if there was like a big sale on those antique fire extinguishers about 5 years ago or what, but they were just everywhere. Uh-oh, Raggedy Ann and Andy doll. Better be careful, don't make eye contact. It could be haunted. And here's some baseball cards from the era you'll see 90% of the time, late 80s, early 90s. They produce so many of them that they're pretty much worthless at this point, for the most part. There's some nice lamps there. And at this point is when everybody started packing up. So this was making me really nervous. I'd already driven about an hour and a half to get here, and now everybody was packing up. So, like I said earlier, I just put it into high gear, trying to get through as much as I could. Now, every time I go to a flea market, I'll sometimes see like a theme where you'll see like certain items keep popping up. And this time it was model trains and model train set accessories. Like this here, this old Tyco train station set. I'm guessing it's probably from 70s or 80s, most likely. It's in pretty good condition. I have no idea what these are worth though, which is why I tend not to pick them up. I'd have to do a lot of research before I started buying that type of thing. Of course, a bunch of Hess trucks. You see a lot of those too. Everybody collected the Hess trucks back in the 80s and 90s. Not sure if they still make them though. I'm pretty sure they don't, but I could be wrong. Because I actually don't know of any Hess stations around us in New England. Not that I'm aware of, anyways. Tons of toys this time. So if you're into toys, definitely head on out here. I like that there, that light that looks like something that would go on an old cop car, like from the 70s or 80s, where it looks a little bit too big to be one that they just throw on the roof when they're chasing somebody down, but it reminds me of that.
Oh shit! Making sales?
Now these phones here, I'm not sure if these are a toy or not. They felt pretty substantial, like a real phone, but they seem too small, so I'm not really sure what those were. Nice suit of armor there. Now this action figure here, the Secret Wars Spider-Man in the black suit, it's from about 85 or so, mid-80s. Guy was asking, I think, $250 or $275, which is a little bit more than I'd be willing to pay. I went online and on eBay, they seem to be selling for about $150 to $200. So it's definitely worth a lot of money, but you know, it was a bit more than I would be willing to spend today. Now, I think you'd have to be a pretty big Kiss fan to want to buy this. The Kiss Love Gun Mister. I don't know. Would anybody here want to display that prominently in their collection? These are a bunch of Star Wars Power of the Force 2 figures from '95, which is when they first got released or re-released, I guess. It was a big deal when they came out, and they were pretty valuable back then, but again, nowadays, most of them have almost no real value, maybe $5 each. I like these old toys here. This trolley car is pretty cool. Looks like the trolley car I went on at the New England Trolley Museum in Windsor. See, and like I was saying, the theme this year is trains. Model trains were everywhere. Now that set there in the back, that building, the yellow building, I'm pretty sure I had something like that in the 70s or 80s. Pretty sure I got it at a tag sale with my grandmother. Those are cool. There's something about them that's just really nostalgic for me. Yeah, another fire extinguisher. And more trains. So if you're into model trains, come on out here for sure. Not sure what brand those are. Probably Lionel would be my guess. These handmade Peanuts figures are pretty cool. Not sure how much they are. Thought that was a real dog there for a minute. Oh, a Velvet Elvis. Didn't see that the first time through. Yeah, and see, at this point people were covering up their stuff and packing up, so there were a lot of empty tables that I had to edit out. Yeah, here's a cool old steamer trunk. It says it's a Louis Vuitton. I don't know if that's correct or not. It looks old, but I just don't know how old. I know they those were big in the late 1800s, early 1900s. This guy here had a lot of cool toys, a lot of 80s toys that I actually had, like that robotics. I had a set of those, mid-80s. I actually have that GoBot there, that Rogun. I don't have the box, but I have the figure. And the other sad thing is, it was raining here, so all this stuff was getting rained on. It wasn't real heavy rain, but I don't know. Like, for me, I'm a collector, and if I see rain on toys,
is this an original one?
It's really depressing.
Wow.
Now, this is from '85. It's still sealed, but I don't know. It didn't seem quite right. The seal seemed way too new to me. And you see under there, there's a gouge underneath the
What are you
seal
looking
plastic.
for that?
So
They were 45. So.
45.
just not really sure how that would have happened.
All right, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Now this radio here, this red thing,
I'm getting this.
I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think it was some sort of like police or fire communication radio. I tried to pick it up, but that thing is heavy. That must have weighed at least 20 pounds. It's way heavier than it looks. And it had all tubes in it, so it's definitely older. It's a cool old Donald Duck stand-up figure. I'm not sure if this is an antique or not. It was in really good condition. It looks like an antique, but it just looks too new to me. And this guy had a bunch of Blu-rays here, still sealed. A bunch of really unusual titles I've never heard of. I just wish they had had prices on them.
It's nothing. Look at this though. I saw this before. I was looking.
I like these old fans here. These are probably from the 40s or 50s, I'm guessing. I would love to have one of those, but I would just be worried that they would catch fire or something with that old wiring.
Good.
Now this guy here had tons of Masters of the Universe He-Man figures. And again, of course, there were no prices on them. I wish there were prices on them, but he had tons of these, and they do look like the originals. How many of these characters can you name? I can name a few, very few of them. He-Man, of course. Ram Man there, I was picking up. I think there's a Man-at-Arms in there somewhere. Evil Lyn.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Bunch of Castle Grayskulls back there, 4 of them. If you ever find a Master of the Universe figures or toys of any sort in the original box from the 80s, those are extremely valuable. Crazy valuable. Here's a cool old reel-to-reel tape player. Another thing I would love to have someday. Bunch of cool old store display racks here. Not really interested in any of the specific racks they had here, but I would love like an old comic book rack or a magazine rack of some sort. Anybody looking for a bison statue? I wonder what that's from. I don't know if it's from a restaurant or what. Bunch of board games there.
Just curious, how much is that Cabbage Patch Kids thing?
Who remembers the California raisins? Back in the 80s, I remember they were a big deal. I remember I had the cassette with their soundtrack. And looking back, I have no idea why we cared about California raisins. They've also got a bunch of food trucks here at this flea market. So if you're looking for stuff to eat, there's plenty.
There you go, Luke. Sorry.
More Hess trucks. And more model trains. And these ones looked a bit older, at least some of them did. They were pretty cool. They looked like 30s, like streamliners. Especially this one that I'm picking up now. This one looks definitely older.
You look better on that.
That's really cool. More model trains. Here's some old tune tumblers, as some people call them, like old glasses you'd get from Burger King or McDonald's in the Happy Meal. I think I have the entire set of the Star Wars ones there.
Yeah, well, you know, I get a lot of friends that have them.
I don't know what it is. I love old phones for some reason. And red phones especially. It reminds me of, I guess, maybe the Batman TV show from the 60s where Batman had the, or Commissioner Gordon had the red telephone. Now this guy here, this guy had a whole table of handmade figures that are made out of like old hardware, old scraps of metal. They were just really cool.
He's a heavy one.
And I actually ended up getting one of these. And his prices were very reasonable. I was expecting to pay a lot more than I actually ended up spending.
Cool. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, how much is this one?
This guy here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
He's $30.
$30?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a cool little monster. Well, it looks like Alien. Alien, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take it. It's
Okay.
it's too good to
Thank
pass
you.
up.
You get back for that?
Yeah, if you have one.
So you have back?
And obviously you make all these yourself?
Yeah, everything.
Wow. Impressive. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Enjoy.
Nice.
$1. Anything, everything. Rocking chair, $1. Umbrella.
I think these are called foo dogs. They don't look too old to me. They look pretty new, but still kind of cool. Oh no, this old TV caught my eye here. It looks like probably late 60s, early 70s would be my guess. The only problem with these old TVs is there's really not much you can hook up to them nowadays without like an RF converter.
Did I tell you I was going out with that girl? No. I didn't know what happened.
The Noid from Domino's. Late 80s, early 90s, I think. He was like their mascot in their advertising. Told you to avoid the Noid, which I think had something to do with the pizzas getting cold. I guess the Noid made your pizza cold. These are commemorative glasses for the moon landing from 1969. I have one at home that's actually shaped like the lunar lander. Nice little collection of Disney characters there. If you're looking for cowboy boots, this guy's got them. I always figure old cowboy boots are gonna stink because you gotta figure people are doing a lot of sweating in those. Now this was funny here. This putter thing called the it was with the butt putt. Looks like something you'd get in a if you remember the Lillian Vernon catalog, you'd get in the mail with a bunch of garbage like that. Here's a nice old U-Haul toy truck. Based on the design of the truck, I'm thinking that's sometime in the 70s. That would be my guess. This guy was selling gas cans, pretty new looking plastic gas cans for 15 bucks. What do those go for new? They can't be much more than that, can they? Now I thought these originally were like Boston Terriers, but I think they're cats. More cool old Tonka type toys there. Nice statue of a Labrador Retriever there. All right, who remembers these cameras here that stored their images on a floppy disk? I remember these were a big deal, probably like late 90s, early 2000s. I used to work at a company where we would use those cameras for professional work, believe it or not. But, you know, a floppy disk only carries 1.44 megabytes, which nowadays, you know, most photos are tens of times the size of that. I always will stop to look at some comics, but these were just way overpriced. They were in really poor condition, and I forget what she was asking for them, but it was way more than they're worth.
Thanks.
Stuff like that, you just have to walk away. These old movie theater seats caught my eye. They're a little bit beat up though, and of course there's no price tag on it. But it's one of those things I've always wanted to get a set of movie seats like that. I don't really have any room for them, but I don't know, I just think it would be cool, like to put them in a, you know, obviously a home theater.
Good.
We had everything laid out a little bit better, and then the rain came, so we kind of covered everything up. A lot of books in these boxes. We've got
These
CDs,
Star Trek
DVDs,
toys here really interested me.
other assorted things.
I haven't seen them before, and they were really nice quality figures, but I don't know. If I got them, I would just put them in a box and put them in storage. And he was asking 10 a piece for them. I think at some point in the past I would have paid that, but I don't know, it was just too much to spend. And again, they would just go in a box in storage. So I'm really trying to cut down on just buying too much of that type of thing. But they are really cool.
I can't tell. Is this the top and bottom, or is it missing?
Yeah, no.
Or it comes like that.
Yeah, it.
It's like it's missing a side, but
This is how they come.
oh, okay.
All like this.
I don't know. If he has them the next time I'm there, I may pick them up.
Well, you know, they have the name in them somewhere. They all have little stands too.
If I bought them all, maybe he'd give me a deal of some sort, hopefully.
Are you here pretty much every time?
No.
No.
We were here twice last year.
Oh.
We're going to try to come back in May.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks.
No problem.
I was really tempted to stop at some of these food booths, but luckily I was able to control myself this time. Now, at first I thought this guy had comic books on the side of his van, but as I got closer I could see they were actually just like photocopies of the cover, so that made me feel a little bit better. They weren't being left out in the elements like this. Normally I would stop at a booth like this with all these comics, but when I see comic boxes that actually have the characters on the boxes, I know that this guy's not going to be cheap, so I just figured I would pass today. Normally I just wouldn't do that. Tons of old video games here. I'm really into video games, but I just don't know what those are worth, and I don't know. I just don't have, again, I don't have space for all this stuff. If I bought everything I actually wanted to buy, I would have to buy a whole other house just to put it all in. And there you have it. That's opening day at the Elephant's Trunk Flea Market in New Milford, Connecticut. Definitely want to come back, but I'm going to try to pick a day where it's nice and sunny and warm. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you next time.